to Lifestyle with Neeraj. The Areca palm, or Dipsis luteolens, is a native of Madagascar, which is an island off the east coast of Africa. It is also found in the Andaman Islands, West Indies, and Florida. Do not confuse this plant with the Majesty palm, which is commonly sold at low prices in box stores. I have avoided buying the Majesty palm based upon my reading. It simply does not do well indoors in Canada. The Areca palm should also not be confused with other members of this family, of which the most common is grown in India and Southeast Asia as a source of betel nuts. Betel nuts are chewed for their psychoactive properties as a stimulant. The word Areca is derived from a word from the Malabar coast of India. In its natural habitat, it can grow to almost 40 feet. However, it tends to reach a maximum height of about 7 feet indoors. I've had this plant for almost 2 years and it appears to be doing well. Multiple stems arise from the base and the leaves grow to about 6 feet. The leaves have a pinnate configuration with multiple small spear-shaped leaves growing from a common axis. This palm is sometimes called the butterfly palm for this reason. Palms can be challenging plants to grow indoors in Canada. As you know, most species have rather high humidity requirements due to the delicate fronds. Humidity in our winters is a significant problem. In Nova Scotia winters, the indoor humidity stays around 22%, which is quite low. In summer, it recovers to 45%. This holds true across the country. Do not confuse these figures with outdoor humidity. It is quite typical for the outdoor relative humidity to be around 60% in Calgary with an air temperature of minus 25 Celsius, whereas Nova Scotia may have a humidity of 30% at a temperature of minus 10 Celsius. The reason for this is that we are measuring relative humidity, and cold air can hold much less moisture than warmer air. I have found that growing tropical plants indoors in Calgary is actually easier than Nova Scotia, since there is a lot more sunshine in Alberta. In our maritime weather, we get several days almost every week that remain cloudy or rainy. So those are two important factors which you have to take into account when growing palms indoors: light exposure and humidity. You can mitigate the effects of dry winter air by watering the plant generously and by spraying the fronds with water regularly. This plant is watered twice weekly using rainwater, which does not contain trace minerals that can build up over time. The soil surface should appear visibly moist most days. In return, the plant will release moisture into your home, essentially acting as a humidifier. Watering is fairly critical, as in most palms. The Areca palm will tolerate brief periods of underwatering in case you are unavailable. The Areca palm does better in high humidity settings. For example, 60%, which is obviously not practical indoors in Canada. The Areca palm doesn't do well in low lighting. It requires bright light from a south-facing window. However, an important caveat is that direct light exposure will damage the delicate fronds. The leaves will turn yellow and dry out. I have solved this issue by having the plant face south, and I have placed the plant about 15 feet away from the window. It is possible to measure the amount of light that your plants are receiving using a light meter app. This plant averages about 300 lux on clear days. If your plant is going to be placed by an east or west facing window, then you can place it closer to the light source. The Areca thrives in warm environments. My home is maintained at 22 Celsius in the winter and recovers to about 24 Celsius in summer. I have found that the plant has done well at these temperatures. Again, because of the delicate fronds, I do not expose the plant to direct sources of heat such as warm air from heating vents or cold air from air conditioners. It is probably a good idea to keep this plant away from a door leading to the outside, especially in winter, since the plant will be subject to very cold air every time someone opens the door. It is fairly common to find that the tips of the fronds turn brown. This may reflect periods of reduced humidity or watering. Fortunately, it is easy to address this. You can simply cut the tips with a pair of scissors. The plant handles this without damage. If an entire leaf turns yellow, it is best to prune it as close to the base as possible. This contrasts with other plants in which new leaves will grow at the point of pruning. I add fertilizer every 3 weeks in the spring when the days become longer. You will notice that the stalks will open, revealing new leaves arranged as spinae in the growing season. The frequency of fertilizer can be reduced to once every 6 weeks in the winter when the plant becomes rather dormant. I use fertilizer with a nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium ratio of 10, 50, 10 diluted according to the instructions on the label. When I first bought the plant, it developed fine silky webs in between the fronds. These are telltale signs of spider mites. Areca palms are particularly susceptible to these insects, especially when exposed to low humidity or dry conditions. My solution was to spray the plant with a homemade neem oil pesticide. You can find the formula for this product elsewhere on YouTube. Neem oil is derived from the neem tree, which is commonly found in India. Neem oil contains azadirachtin, which is an endocrine disruptor that targets the reproductive system of insects. This distinguishes it from most pesticides such as nicotine produced by the tobacco plant, which target the nervous system. Neem oil is considered harmless to humans when used according to directions. From my reading, I believe it is safe to use neem oil indoors. When I purchased the plant, I did spray with a garden hose to wash off all the pesticides used in the nursery. However, I should have followed up with a spray made from dish soap such as Dawn, which is also quite effective for mites. You can spray the fronds periodically with soapy liquid to inhibit insects and to wash dust away. In summary, the Areca palm can be grown indoors in Canada. However, it does require a fair bit of care. It is not a hardy plant in our growing conditions in Nova Scotia and will not tolerate neglect. It is probably best to avoid this plant if you are completely new to indoor plants, but certainly consider it if you have a lot of experience. If you carefully control light, humidity, moisture, and fertilizer, you will be rewarded with a beautiful plant that commands attention and becomes the focal point of the room. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video informative.